The Haunting of the Stanley Hotel, a tale of ghosts and mysteries. Nestled in the picturesque town of Estes Park, Colorado, USA, stands a grand white hotel, a symbol of luxury, history, and intrigue. This hotel, known as the Stanley Hotel, boasts a breathtaking view of the Rocky Mountains, and at first glance, one might simply see a beautiful, historic structure. But for many, the Stanley is much more than just a hotel. It is one of the most haunted places in America. Over the decades, countless guests have reported eerie, unexplainable events. Footsteps in the halls, disembodied voices, ghostly apparitions, and objects that seem to move on their own. But how did this place become so haunted? What is the story behind the Stanley Hotel's chilling reputation? Let's travel back in time to unravel the dark history of this iconic hotel. The birth of the Stanley Hotel. In the early 1900s, a visionary named Freelan Oscar Stanley, the inventor of the Stanley steamer automobile, sought to escape the health challenges brought on by tuberculosis. He and his wife, Florence, traveled to Estes Park in search of a cleaner, drier climate to improve his health. The cool mountain air seemed to work wonders for Stanley, and he quickly fell in love with the area's natural beauty. In 1903, after spending a couple of years in Estes Park, Freelan decided to build a grand hotel, one that would cater to the wealthiest visitors of the time. He hired a renowned architect, William White, to design what would be a luxurious resort, built in the Georgian colonial style. Stanley's vision was to create a place where guests could experience the finest amenities, enjoy the stunning mountain views, and escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life. The Stanley Hotel opened its doors in 1909, offering lavish accommodations, electricity, a rare commodity in the area at the time, and even a grand piano in the lobby. It quickly gained fame as the premier resort for high society and celebrities. But not long after the hotel's completion, strange things began to happen. The first signs of the paranormal. From the beginning, there was something a little off about the hotel. Guests reported hearing mysterious sounds, such as voices echoing in empty hallways, footsteps when no one was around, and the faint sound of a piano playing itself in the middle of the night. One of the first rumors surrounding the Stanley Hotel was that Freelan Stanley himself had been deeply involved in the occult and had a fascination with spiritualism. While no hard evidence links him directly to these beliefs, many locals and visitors would later claim that Freeland's personal interest in the supernatural could have influenced the hotel's strange occurrences. Florence Stanley, his wife, was a deeply religious woman, and it is said that she believed in maintaining a spiritual harmony throughout the hotel. Whether or not the hotel's builders had the best of intentions, the combined energies of Freeland's scientific curiosity and Florence's religious devotion seemed to have left a lasting imprint on the property. But it wasn't just the Stanley family's beliefs that set the stage for the hotel's eerie reputation. The very location of the hotel, nestled in the secluded mountains, was a significant factor. Estes Park had long been inhabited by Native American tribes who believed the area was filled with spiritual energy, and some even spoke of the land being cursed. As strange occurrences began to escalate, the town's native history started to weave its way into the legends of the hotel. The ghosts arrive, the first hauntings. As the years passed, guests began to report paranormal encounters during their stays at the Stanley. The most well-known spirits said to haunt the hotel are Florence Stanley and a mysterious bellboy named Paul. It's believed that Florence, a somewhat high-strung and perfectionist woman, had difficulty letting go of her home once she passed. Her spirit is said to linger in the lobby and in the room she once frequented, particularly room 217. Guests have reported feeling a sudden drop in temperature, hearing the faint scent of lavender, Florence's favorite perfume, and sometimes even seeing her ghostly figure standing by the windows, gazing out over the mountain views she loved so much. Room 217 has become infamous for another ghostly event. In 1911, a gas leak caused an explosion that blew out the windows and caused significant damage. A maid was seriously injured in the explosion, and many believe that her restless spirit now haunts the room, making her presence known through flickering lights, sudden gusts of wind, and a strange scent of cleaning products. Staff members who've worked in the hotel for decades have claimed that room 217 is alive, with energy that can't be fully explained. But it wasn't just the Stanley family's spirits that made the hotel haunted. Over the years, more entities began to make their presence known. Guests and employees alike began to report the feeling of being watched, hearing footsteps echoing in the halls, and even seeing apparitions of former guests. Some would hear doors creaking open at odd hours, or see their lights flicker unexpectedly. And then, there was the piano. A hauntingly beautiful sound that seemed to float through the hallways on the 4th floor, where the ballroom is located. Legend has it that the spirit of a former pianist still plays the piano late at night, even though the hotel has not employed a pianist in many years. The rise of the Stanley Hotel's fame. The Stanley Hotel's eerie reputation didn't remain a local secret for long. As the 20th century progressed, more and more people became aware of the hotel's supernatural activity. In 1974, a visit by Stephen King would solidify the hotel's place in horror legend. King was on a road trip with his wife Tabby when they arrived at the Stanley Hotel, just before the start of the off-season. The hotel's grandeur, combined with its remote, isolated location, had an eerie atmosphere that captured King's imagination. He and Tabby were among the hotel's only guests that night, and the eerie emptiness only seemed to add to the strange feeling in the air. It was that night, as King wandered the halls of the hotel, that he had a terrifying dream. One where his young son was chased through a hotel by a terrifying supernatural force. That dream inspired his novel, The Shining, a story that would forever tie the Stanley Hotel to the world of horror and the supernatural. In the book, King created the iconic Overlook Hotel, a fictionalized version of the Stanley, which became the setting for one of the most chilling horror stories of all time. The novel was later adapted into the famous 1980 film, directed by Stanley Kubrick, which brought the Stanley Hotel's legend to a global audience. The haunting themes of isolation, madness, and supernatural terror fit so perfectly with the atmosphere of the Stanley Hotel that it quickly became a must-see location for fans of horror. The modern-day haunting today, the Stanley Hotel continues to be a popular destination for those interested in both its historic luxury and its ghostly legends. It regularly hosts ghost tours, where visitors can explore its haunted halls, learn about its history, and even try to make contact with the spirits who are said to linger. The hotel has been the site of many paranormal investigations by groups such as Ghost Hunters and the Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures, further solidifying its place as one of the most haunted hotels in America. Guests have reported hearing the sounds of children laughing and playing on the 4th floor, once the site of the hotel's daycare center, seeing figures move in the corners of their eyes and feeling sudden cold spots throughout the hotel. Many claim to have seen a man in an old-fashioned suit, thought to be the spirit of Paul, the bellboy, who has been known to assist guests in his ghostly form. But perhaps the most haunting feature of the Stanley Hotel is the sense of unease it evokes. Whether it's the unsettling isolation of its surroundings or the spirits who refuse to leave, the hotel remains a place where reality and the supernatural seem to collide. It's a place where guests can check in, but perhaps not check out quite the same. The legacy of the Stanley Hotel. So, how did the Stanley Hotel become haunted? It's a combination of history, tragedy, and the unexplainable. It's a place where the spirits of the past refuse to rest, where the boundaries between the living and the dead are thin, and where the legacy of the Stanley family, combined with the hotel's eerie atmosphere, continues to captivate and terrify all who visit. The hotel's legacy as a haunted destination is firmly cemented, and its history of paranormal activity only adds to its mystique. The Stanley Hotel is a reminder that some places, no matter how beautiful or grand, hold secrets that refuse to stay buried. And so, whether you're a skeptic or a believer, one thing is certain: the Stanley Hotel's haunting will never be forgotten. Thanks for watching. God bless.